What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, I wanted to get into the interplay between DEC and SPS with the upcoming SPS burn mechanic. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts here, and if you already understand this, then this video may not be for you. You can go ahead and skip it, but I've been seeing a lot of comments here on the channel as well as just discourse around the Discord servers and on Reddit trying to talk about this, and it seems a lot of people are still struggling to understand it, which is totally fair. This is more advanced and more advanced DeFi, I would say. And so, like I said, if this is not for you, or if you're already up to date on this, then feel free to skip it. But if you come across somebody who is struggling to understand it or is trying to better understand it, you can send them this way, and hopefully it'll be helpful for them. So DEC is what the team wants to be its algorithmic stablecoin. Right now, when we say stablecoin, it's pegged at a 1,000 DEC to $1. Now, clearly, we are almost 50% below that, but that's where the team wants it to be in the long run, and they've put measures both on the high end as well as the low end. So if DEC is below its peg or above its peg, then they have measures put in to try to get it back to its peg over time. So right now, the peg, it would technically be for one DEC token would be 0.001. So like I said, we're 45% below that right now. And this was caused by, let's do a little history lesson, right? This was caused by what happened with the airdrop last year. It just threw everything out of whack because DEC was pegged. Well, I shouldn't use the word pegged, but DEC was used, giving utility one-to-one as an airdrop point. And so therefore, people realized they could get a ton of SPS by just buying DEC off the market rather than holding in-game assets. So what did that do? Well, people bought a ton of DEC. That pumped the price up of DEC. And at the time, the way that the DEC monetary policy worked, right? It was algorithmic even then. And so actually it was algorithmic then rather than non-algorithmic in the future. And I'll explain where that change is about to happen. So back then, if the price of DEC was at peg, which is 0.001, what would end up happening is there would be 1 million DEC printed per day. If it went above that, right? So if all of a sudden there was this demand for DEC, the algorithm would try to make it a highly inflationary token, meaning it would print more DEC in proportion. So let's say DEC at this point in time, and this is kind of like when I got in, right? So August-ish, or we'll just say or September-ish, right? It was 0.0055. So it's 5.5 X above its peg, meaning that instead of 1 million DEC getting printed per day, we had 5.5 million DEC being printed per day. But the thing was, the airdrop was still very much in effect. There was still going to be like 10 months more of the airdrop. So people just kept buying DEC, raising the price. And, we hit our top here at 1.5 cents, which is 15X above its peg. And so 15 million DEC were printed on this specific day. And so all of a sudden, we just had crazy amounts of DEC in the system that had utility up until July 26th, which was the end of the airdrop. Now, obviously, the market crashed and collapsed, and it's been a slow, steady grind all the way down. I guess this wasn't really that slow. But essentially, what happens is when DEC goes below its peg, all of a sudden, the algorithm starts printing less of it, right? So again, in proportion, because it's trying to make it more scarce, more rare, and in that way, give it more value. That's how the algorithm was designed, and that's still how the algorithm is designed to this day. But what's changing is we are going to have an upcoming burn mechanism for SPS, and we're going to get into that in a moment. But essentially, once the airdrop ended, and actually even before the airdrop ended, we saw the demand for DEC fall below its intended peg value. So all of a sudden, less DEC was getting printed, but there was also a ton of DEC already out in the ecosystem because you had like 6 to 8 months of printing way above the peg. Now, when that happened, and all of a sudden not when that happened, but when the airdrop ended on July 26th, all of a sudden DEC wasn't really needed anymore as an airdrop point. But they did implement certain utilities, I believe sometime back in June when it did go below its peg. And let's see here, we can see, yep, in June is when it looked like it went below its peg. Now, this is one half of what this new kind of guardrails are going to be to keep DEC at its 0.001 0.001 intended peg, or 1,000 DEC per $1 US. What they did is they want to back DEC at a rate of 4,000, sorry, not 4,000, but 1,000 DEC to $1 using their products. And what Matt is really excited about, the founder of the game, is the fact that this might be the first project that is backing a token, an algorithmically stable token, with its products. So the question is, okay, they implemented this in June and DEC has actually fallen lower and lower and lower in value. With the end of the airdrop, all of a sudden people were like, well, what do we do with this? We could just take all this extra DEC we've been holding in liquidity pools or holding ourselves for airdrop points, and we could buy packs with it, right? Because if you buy packs through the website, not on Hive Engine, but through the website, then you will get a rate of either $4 if you pay in credits or in another crypto, or you can buy it for 4,000 DEC. And since DEC is 45% below its peg, you're actually getting packs for like a little over $2 right now if you were to buy with DEC. So you should not be buying, if you're buying packs from the store, and the benefit of buying from the store is that you get, this is going to be, I'm using the terms twice here, which makes it confusing, but you're getting airdrop points for legendary airdrops for the cards, right? Not for the SPS airdrop, which is completely done now. But you're getting points towards the airdrop in the future, or more rolls of the dice for airdrop cards. So the upcoming Conqueror Yasik, and then there's going to be 4 more legendary summoners after that for each of the other splinters. So at this point in time, really, unless you have no other option, you should not be buying in credits, because you can save 45%, get it for almost half off by buying with DEC. The thing is, how do you buy DEC, right? If you're coming in from fiat, it can make it a little difficult. So I understand it's not as easy as people think. But if you can get your hands on DEC in order to buy packs, you'll be paying significantly less, almost half the price, which I think is worth it. Now, that is supposed to be the bottom driver to push DEC back to its peg. The problem is we are still, since the end of the airdrop, we are still in a place where DEC is highly inflationary. Now, back in May, when new ranked rewards came in, they started putting multipliers on the DEC coming out of chest, right? And all the way up to champion, if you're getting DEC in there, they just put a 48x multiplier, 16x in diamond and 8x in gold, and then on downwards. Now, the thing is, the algorithm was already kind of busted in the sense that, you know, we had printed so much DEC, but now all of a sudden you add on top of it this highly inflationary action of just minting even more DEC that has nothing to do with the algorithm. And what Matt was saying was that as more players come in, the amount of DEC just gets crazy because there's no cap on that, right? So all of a sudden DEC just became even more inflationary post airdrop, or not post airdrop, but post ranked rewards, and that caused the supply overall to continue ballooning upwards. So what is going to happen now towards hopefully the end of the month when we get this shutting off of DEC for ranked rewards and the turning on of SPS? This is going to be a big moment, right? Because as of now, DEC's only real utility outside of buying packs is to put it into liquidity pools, and that's been good, right? But not enough. Although, you know, the APRs for liquidity pools are still decent, but that's an aside, and we can talk about liquidity pools later. Getting back to what SPS ranked battle rewards will do is it's going to remove the amount of DEC that was coming into the mix every month. And it's going to reduce it by like 80%, according to Matt. Now, the liquidity pools, as I said, are going to continue printing DEC, but they're going to print at a flat rate of 70 million per month. So over the past couple of months, we've been getting like 350 million DEC. And sorry, this is just out of my own curiosity. If we do 350 divided by 30, actually, let's do 350 divided by 30. Yeah, so think about it this way. Over the past couple of months, we've been printing DEC as though it's 11.6x above its peg. We've been printing 11.6 million DEC per day on average, right? Since the rank rewards change at the end of May. So June, July, and all the way probably through August, we're printing even more amounts of DEC, even though it is below. So like the amount that we're printing for ranked rewards is killing the algorithm that has been in there, which is trying to print less and less. So when you're playing for ranked battles, it's printing less and less for you. But when you open these chests, and maybe not you, but people who are in Diamond and Champion who open these chests and get like 600,000 DEC, that's all just going up. That's all just going into the ecosystem and really inflating DEC to the moon, not in a good way, but literally the supply to the moon. So that's why DEC is struggling so much right now, and why the change to remove DEC from ranked battle rewards and implement SPS is going to be huge for DEC, right? Because now we're going to get a flat rate of 70 million upcoming per month, and hopefully that's going to start by the end of August or early September. And from that point onwards, unless and until they make another monetary policy to DEC, monetary policy change to DEC, we should just be getting the 70 million. So in that time, over the next couple of weeks, months, we don't know how quickly it'll happen, but that supply of DEC is going to start drying up. Now, keep in mind, there are billions, right? Multi-billions of DEC floating around the ecosystem. And there are really just two burn mechanics right now that I'm aware of. One is potions, if you buy DEC with potions, and two is guilds. Now that's the bigger one, and I think that could be a really big burn mechanic as they are going to implement ranked battle rewards for, sorry, not ranked battle, but SPS rewards for guild brawls. So if that comes in, the next couple weeks or months as well, then there will be this mad rush to level up guilds. Because right now we don't have anybody playing at tier 4, tier 5. And if there's rewards just sitting there waiting for people, well, that guilds, especially the higher up ones, are going to be spending that DEC and therefore burning it in order to level up their guilds. Now, when they spend the DEC, if they don't have it, what are they doing? They're buying it off the market, which raises the price of DEC. So guilds, which is a big one, potions, which is a small one, and Chaos Legion packs, which are currently available for either, as we talked about, 4,000 credits or 4,000 DEC, which is much more worth it right now. Those are all the mechanisms to keep DEC at to help DEC on the low end, right? So if it is below its peg, which it is right now, all these things are going to be drivers to help push DEC back up to its 0.001. So that's great, right? Because once DEC gets shut off in terms of ranked battle rewards, we stop getting this high inflation, and we hopefully, as a community, as a game community, and as an ecosystem, start eating up that DEC and burning it for guild, and maybe and land probably next year. But again, that's a little bit more speculative. The last we've heard is that land should be a DEC sink, but there's a lot that can happen and change with land in the future. So right now it's just guilds and it is the products. Now, when the team receives DEC for payment, right, this is revenue for them, and they end up holding the DEC. They don't burn it. So I just want to make that very clear. The only real or main burn mechanism right now is guilds. So when the team gets it, it's considered revenue for them, and they pay out on the back end. So anybody who's using credits, they have this kind of store of DEC that they're holding, but when they give it out, they're giving it out at whatever the current rate is. So they're trying to honor this, and they are holding on to, essentially, they're trying to eat up a lot of the inflation by holding on to DEC when we pay it to them for the packs, but that is their way of backing the token. Okay, so now we talked about the downside and how the team is trying to mitigate the downside. And this is what I'm saying, where there's no algorithm anymore. Once DEC rewards or ranked battle rewards get shut down, the algorithm will essentially be turned off. So this will be done through monetary policy for DEC, where we're going to be printing 70 million, but that's a flat rate, and therefore it's going to be happening with the backing of the coin through products, right? So packs as well as guilds. So that will help the downside. And I don't know. I mean, people are getting very bullish on DEC in the short run, thinking that we're going to be back at peg in a couple of weeks. I don't know. I don't make predictions here, so I can't say that. I do think that DEC getting back to its peg is one of the surest things we can expect to happen over the long run, right? Because the team is going to be doing everything they can to get it back to its peg. So this isn't financial advice, and I'm not saying to go out and buy a ton of DEC because I don't know what the time frame for that is, but I am saying that I do believe the team is going to do whatever they need to do to try to get it back to its peg in the long run. So once we get back up to the peg, well, now you know what the downside limiters are. what happens if DEC once again goes above its peg? Let's say there's a mad rush for guilds, and all of a sudden people are buying DEC like crazy, and then DEC goes to 0.002. Well, now all of a sudden DEC is more expensive than the team wants it to be, and they want to incentivize people to continue joining guilds or leveling up guilds and doing other things within the game that, you know, a stable coin can be very useful for, market transactions and such, right? Especially with like non-card market coming up. They want a stable coin within the game, and credits are not a stable coin. They're like a gift card if you really think about it. So once they get DEC back to its peg, and if it goes above its peg, this is where the SPS burn mechanism comes into play. Now, there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of people who are misunderstanding it, but it is based on a US dollar standpoint and not an SPS token standpoint. So at a future point, let's say DEC were to get above its peg, you can burn $1, $1 USD of SPS in order to get 1,000 DEC. So what does that mean? Well, it doesn't matter what the price of SPS is at that point, right? So it's just $1 of SPS, meaning that if SPS is currently at its, let's just make it easy. Let's say SPS is at 10 cents. You could burn 10 cents or 10 SPS tokens and get 1,000 DEC worth. Now you'd ask yourself, okay, why would I do that? And you wouldn't, unless DEC is above its peg. And let's say DEC does go above, like 2x above its peg. It goes to 0.002 because there's a mad rush in for all of that DEC for guilds or for land or whatever in the future. Well, what this is saying is that you can buy, or not buy, but you can burn $1 US worth of SPS, burn that for 1,000 DEC, but that 1,000 DEC, since it's 2x above its peg, is going to be worth $2. So think about it this way. You're burning $1 to get $2 of value, at which point you will go sell out of that DEC, right? Because you have that 1,000 DEC that's worth $2. You sell out of that DEC, and that creates downward price action on the value of DEC. So there's going to be an arbitrage here. Probably, you know, I highly doubt that many of us will be able to take advantage of it. Most likely it's going to be bots that are going to see this arbitrage and do it much faster than we can, because they're going to do it if DEC goes like 10% or 5% above its peg, right? Not 100% above its peg. Like they're going to, whenever it goes above, they're going to see, hey, I can sell $1 worth of SPS and I can get $1.05. Why wouldn't I do this trade indefinitely, all right? Or why wouldn't I do this trade until I cannot do the trade anymore and DEC goes back down? So that's the limiter, right? And this is where I'm saying it doesn't matter how much SPS or the value of SPS is. But what does it do to SPS in the long run, and why is this making so many people, including myself, very bullish on SPS? Well, if you remember the Terra Luna situation, and I know that's a lot of people look at that as a cautionary tale. This is why the the Luna token ended up going to the moon. It's because there was this mechanic where you could burn Luna to get the UST stablecoin, right? And the stablecoin could be used in the entire ecosystem, and they were just printing money left and right. So it was degenerate no matter how you look at it. But that caused the price of Luna, which, you know, I remember getting in at $6 and it went to like 120, right? So it was a pretty, and I didn't make a clean sweep on that. So, but that was like what I saw, right? Like when I got interested in the project, I was able to see that token go all the way to the moon simply because of the mechanics. Now, Luna had a fatal flaw with it, and that was you could also burn UST to go back into Luna. So it created this death spiral where if you didn't want either token, and once the peg was broken, right, and this was a coordinated attack on the ecosystem, but once the peg was broken, people were like, yeah, I don't want to be holding either of them. I don't want to burn one for the other. I just want to sell out of all of it. So there was nothing backing each side. Whereas on the Splinterlands end, the lesson learned, and hopefully there's no fatal flaw that we'll discover at some point in the future here, is you don't have a two-way street. You can only burn SPS for DEC. You cannot burn DEC for SPS, right? And so DEC, therefore, is then backed by, as we said, on the low end, it's backed by the products, guilds, packs, and probably land at some point in the future. So that's kind of how it is. I was going to say in a nutshell, but this video has gotten a little bit longer than I was hoping for. But I hope that this was helpful in explaining what the mechanics are like for you now. And so, again, it doesn't really matter what the price of SPS is. The thing is, once DEC gets back to its peg and potentially even above its peg, anybody can go out on the market. If you don't, let's say you don't have the SPS, right? Let's just say it's somebody who doesn't care about the game but understands the mechanics of the ecosystem. They can just go on the market, buy $1 worth of SPS, and get $1 plus whatever the arbitrage is back in DEC, and then sell that DEC to get DEC back to its peg. And that will probably happen. Like I said, we'll probably never see a 2-3x, DEC above its peg at any point in the future, because people, myself included, whenever we see any kind of arbitrage, we're going to go in, burn some SPS, and take advantage of it, because you don't even have to do it with the SPS you're holding, right? Like if you want to my SPS, all you need is some extra capital, and you go buy the SPS off the market. Buy the SPS, buy $1 worth of SPS, and then you're able to burn it and sell it. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I think I'm rambling on now, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any other questions or want me to dig into anything else, I'd be happy to. But like I said, I can't read your mind. So just let me know your thoughts after this, and we can continue the conversation there. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.